So I think this is how my videos are going to go going forward. On Wednesdays, I'll do one of my more unique and creative types of videos, from roasts to primers to rants to maybe some other weird stuff I have planned. Then on Sundays, I will do a double figure review or a what's the best. And you may want to know what the difference is between doing that and just doing 3 videos a week. And the simple fact of the matter is, it's production line. It's easier to film 2 figures at once and edit them into one review by a ton than it is to film 2 different reviews for those figures. I also think it might lead to more interesting videos. This way I can catch up with my reviews as I've been falling further and further behind, but I will still not be killing myself to keep up. Unfortunately, this has a serious downside in the fact that most of my reviews either don't or just barely earn enough to pay for the figure I'm reviewing. So doubling up on the figures in these videos means that I'm guaranteeing that they will not pay for themselves. Since I won't be getting double viewership or revenue, I'll probably still review leader figures or masterpieces in single figure videos. That way I'm not spending like $100 to make a video that earns like 20. But if you'd like to help me afford these videos, then I have a Patreon I hope you'll consider. If you have money that you won't miss. Again, I don't want your money if you need it. And don't feel bad if you ever need to end your patronage if you need your money for whatever reason you need it for. In that instance, please take care of yourself first. And thank you for ever considering helping me out. Also, what would help is your likes! Please give. And if you enjoy this video by the end and you aren't subscribed already, please consider it. Oh, also, I'm thinking of having 1 week a month where I just do roast-a-mans. That way I can take a break more often. Alright, the other 2 figures from the, I don't know what to call it, the bad buzzworthy Rise of the Beasts box set. Wheeljack and Nightbird. The Wheeljack is absolutely the better of the 2, despite the fact that I find the design to be a loathsome nightmare cobbled together by the fantasies of an ill mind. I can't make the claim that it's not the more accurate of the 2 figures, and also the significantly lesser clusterfuck. I mean, Nightbird looks like she took a bomb to the torso and lived. I'm not the biggest kibble hater, but this is an abomination. She's just like a dense clump of folded panels at her core, with these skeletal limbs hanging off. She looks like she has leprosy, and also the biggest dick on the planet. Why is her crotch plate as long as her upper thigh? There is literally no reason for this. It has no function being this long in the transformation. Its whole reason for existing seems to be to draw your attention to it and away from the rest of the kibble, which mission accomplished. I am not looking at that heckin' backpack when I am busy staring at her dongus. Wheeljack also suffers from a similar condition, though with him it's less BDE and more BDSM. Why is he wearing suspenders attached to a thong that hold on by getting clamped onto his nipples? I didn't know that you could make a slinkini cover less of the body, but Wheeljack found a way, using science! You know, honestly, that's not fair to say, because this guy wasn't a scientist in the movie. You know what he was, though? Beachcomber. Glasses, soft-spoken, loves nature, infested with animals. Hell, he even turns into a hippie van, the filthy hippie. The design even slightly resembles Beachcomber, unlike the not at all it does Wheeljack. This is just Beachcomber in brown, with apparently a very easily breakable pair of glasses according to several of my subscribers, so just be careful with this part in transformation. But yeah, you can't convince me that in the script this guy wasn't called Beachcomber, and they just went through with a pen and scribbled all that out, and then wrote in Wheeljack just to piss off people like me. You know what else pisses me off? The way these 2 feel. Wheeljack isn't terrible, but he's got a lot of sharp angles on him that aren't great to hold. Not cut your fingers dagger-like, though unpleasant nonetheless. Nightbird, on the other hand, feels like razor blades in your fists, having an even higher quantity of even sharper edges, but she's also made out of plastic that feels about as bad as Cheetor's. But unlike Cheetor, she's made out of nothing but thin panels, so at any point it feels like she could shatter into a million pieces that will infest my carpet like a bunch of caltrops, just waiting to slice my feet up more savagely than an errant 1x1 Lego. So, remarkably ninja-like, I suppose. If you are looking for a representation of the 2 characters in Rise of the Beasts with a least screen time that's not one of the maximals, ironic I know, then Beachcomber here at least looks the part. Nightbird does not. However, she does get a significantly better head. Is this more accurate than the Wheeljack? I don't know. In the movie, you barely ever get a good shot of her face, and the one time you really do, it's in the middle of a moonless night. But what I can say is that staring at this hurts me a lot less than the Wheeljack, and it does evoke the G1 character even a little. It's taking liberties, but I do have a chance to guess who this is supposed to be without being told. Which I cannot say the same for Wheeljack. If I was not told that this was Wheeljack when I was originally presented with the design, I might have guessed Ironhide if you removed the glasses, and I might have guessed Perceptor if you kept the glasses and really changed the colors, and before someone complains about Ironhide never wearing suspenders because that would be dweeby, no, suspenders are not always dorky. I can see Ironhide being like a 1920s tough guy bouncer. This is a van, it's got the general helmet shape, the overall design of the robot mode is kinda beefy. This could have been Ironhide in design, though not character ultimately in the movie. And then if we're trying to make this an uber nerd, it's got some similarities to Perceptor, even if he's not supposed to be a vehicle, and Perceptor is the swirlies kind of nerd. Whereas Wheeljack is more like your drunk uncle in his garage hooking up his chainsaw to his truck's engine to make the tool stronger. What I'm saying is that this design basically fits everyone but Wheeljack. even if this fish-lipped fucker's face is fugly enough to make me question if there's really good in this universe. So it's safe to say that I hate the way that both of these look, but I hate the way that they feel more. Wheeljack could have been passable in blue or blue and red, as one of several other characters, but Nightbird is not an acceptable anything. She is an unfathomable mess. As for accessories, these are pretty much as terrible as their figures. Wheeljack has this absolutely bizarre, alien-as-hell looking 50s-ass laser pistol that honestly could pass for a spaceship with some paint, or a bike seat just as it is. And Nightbird comes with a sword that has holes in it, that's not sharp, that she doesn't have the wrists to wield, but at least is well painted. And she comes with these two useless claw things that are extra useless for me because they are supposed to combine to form a thing that I have no idea what it's supposed to really be, but unfortunately they sent me two of the exact same one, which is why you might have noticed that you've seen one of these backwards on the figure this whole video, because the two halves are asymmetrical, and if you don't have both, they won't fit on the alt mode properly, and they won't combine into something the figure can hold. Oops! Oh well, it's not like I lost anything of value. So I'd say that this is the rare negative score on accessories. I don't want these. Hasbro basically went, here, you throw these away. Wheeljack's gun, which I appreciate for being an actual gun and not a dumbass Mega Man lemon buster, is still ugly as sin and silly looking, like, I'll harm you with this bike part! And then even if Nightbird didn't come with two of the same accessory making it impossible to use either, I still wouldn't care about this dumbass back scratcher. And then her sword doesn't even look like a sword, more like a cattle prod, which when I think stealthy ninja, I think cattle prod. I'm only joking a little because of Nightwing, who is way more of a ninja than this bitch will ever be. I honestly don't know which of these poses worse. Neither is good. Though, neither is awful. Head with a lot of down and some swivel, though it feels like it's gonna snap off on Wheeljack. Head with very limited swivel and a little up on Nightbird, though it at least doesn't feel like that part's gonna break, it's just everything else that's at risk of that. Shoulders pull slightly more than a 90, with fake forwards and backwards butterflies, and kind of a real one too, but it's not a lot on Wheeljack. Shoulders go all the way up on Nightbird, but you really have to finagle it around the tire, and that really limits this thing. Normal 90 elbows, normal 90 elbows. No wrists, no wrists. Legs are moderately to seriously impeded in all directions on the Wheeljack. Legs are unimpeded going forward on the Nightbird, a little going back, and extremely out to the sides. Normal 90 knees on Wheeljack. 3 separate knees on Nightbird that kind of, maybe, if you really squint, pull the ugliest maximum I've ever seen. Foot forward and back with toe down and some pivot on Wheeljack, and basically only an ankle pivot on Nightbird. So Wheeljack has good shoulders, a good head, and good feet, and Nightbird has... However, both of them have several really bad joints as well. So if I'm being nice, they're average. What I can't be nice about is these two's transformations. I loathe both these conversions. Both are clashy, both are sticky, both hate doing what they're supposed to do. Wheeljack's is a little better because at least it's trying a few clever things and trying to be something new and original. I hate it, but if this thing had better clearances and better plastics, I could see a reality where this thing is actually kind of fun. As for Nightbird, it's at this point where we realize that this is a really, really bad, really wrong-headed retool of the Siege Prowl with a new, far shittier crotch and below. The upper body works basically exactly the same way as before, just clashier with worse plastics and a whole lot more hand pain, but the lower body just doesn't know what it wants from you. It feels like a lightly constructed shell masquerading around thin struts while nothing wants to actually lock together. But once it does lock together, it sticks to each other far too tightly, to the point where it's a bitch and a half to get everything back apart for robot mode. It's just no fun to try and get these things into alt mode, and I do not know how you ruin the Siege Prowl this badly. And then what am I really going to say about these alt modes other than, these are just not worth going through that process. Both get some paint, but both needed a lot more. Though Wheeljack's decals are at least a little impressive, both look dead and lifeless now that the plastic is really on display, and they just look cheap. One's an ugly old van that was apparently converted into a TV repair vehicle, despite how that has literally no bearing on anything in the movie, and the other one is a cool car with a bad paint job that's never even explained when or why it was chosen, which I suppose is at the very least very toy of them. But look, neither of these is worth the time and pain it takes to go through those excruciating transformations. At best, you can say that they are only mildly offensive because of how cheap the plastic looks. So I resent having to do those transformations to get to these modes. And I have just nothing but contempt for these two figures. Where the Cheetor they came with had at least a few redeeming features, these just don't. They are outright bad, and after this video, they are either going into deep storage to hopefully never be seen again, or sold off, or probably thrown in the trash. I don't want these in my collection. I don't like the fact that I had to buy them just to get Cheetor. Wheeljack is at least tolerable. I've seen much worse figures before, but his posing, his quality, and his transformation are extreme negative factors, and the robot is ugly as sin to me. But if I pretend that it's a different character, I actually like it a little bit more. And while the quality makes the transformation suck, it's at least trying to be an interesting and clever one. However, there is just no reality where the Nightbird is any good. She is a terrible figure. Looks bad, feels worse, hurts more than that, transforms heinously. There should be no way that something this simple is this unfun, and I suppose it has a passable alt mode. Whoop-de-freaking-do. Screw this set. Don't buy it. Cheetor isn't worth being saddled with these other two for this price, and all three of them have serious problems anyways. Cheetor could have been better, Wheeljack had potential, but Nightbird is beyond a lost cause, and I am just so full of hate. And that's not half what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.